Look at this painting. A young Pharisee lies sprawled on his back, blinded by heaven's light. This is Saul of Tarsus on the Damascus Road. We know the story: the sudden fall and the massive skewbald horse looming over him, taking up half the canvas. Caravaggio painted his version in 1601. A half-century earlier, Michelangelo painted the exact same scene. Rubens painted it. Medieval illuminators painted it. We've seen it in stained glass, Sunday school materials, and children's Bibles. This imagery has heavily influenced how we talk about faith. When someone has a sudden, unexpected, and intensely private spiritual awakening, a direct lightning bolt between them and God, we say they had a Damascus Road experience. There is only one small problem with this picture. Our entire modern understanding of this biblical moment rests on a physical detail we rarely check. Go to the text. Open up Acts chapter 9, or the parallel accounts in Acts 22 and 26. Read them slowly and look for the horse. It isn't there. Luke writes Paul heard a voice and was falling to the ground. He does not fall from a mount. He just falls. A man of Paul's high station, carrying letters from the high priest and traveling 135 miles on Roman roads, was probably writing something. But the author, Luke, purposefully omits that detail because it is entirely irrelevant to his point. By memorizing the painter's version of the story before we ever learned the apostles' version, we have blinded ourselves to the actual mechanics of Paul's conversion. Why did generations of artists insist on putting a horse in the room if the text ignores it? The painters needed visual drama. They needed altitude. To show a proud man brought low in a single frame, they required a literal, recognizable metaphor. The horse provided that vertical plunge. The physical drama of the fall distracts us from what the text actually focuses on: the specific, strange wording of the voice from heaven. Paul had been arresting Christians and dragging them in chains to prison. Yet Christ on the road does not ask, "Why are you persecuting my people?" or "Why are you persecuting my church?" He asks, "Why are you persecuting me?" The Lord identifies so completely with the church he created that they are inseparable. To strike at the people is to strike directly at Christ. From that dusty road, Paul's story moves into the quiet, communal streets of the city. He spends 3 days fasting in the dark. He sees nothing. He is utterly helpless. This is a sharp contrast to the triumphant, self-realized individual awakening we are usually taught to picture. To finish what started outside the city limits, God actively chooses to use a human element. He sends a local believer named Ananias, a man who is understandably nervous about the assignment, to find Paul. The scales of his old life do not come loose in the dirt of the road. They only fall when Ananias lays his hands on Paul, speaks the word, and brings him to the waters of baptism. The conversion was explicitly designed to be incomplete out in the wilderness. It was purposefully delayed so it could be finalized in the city, through the physical ministry of the church. The inclusion of the horse in our cultural memory is an issue because it operates as a displacement mechanism. This animation shows the contrast. The myth forces us to view conversion strictly as an unmediated, solitary event between God and an individual, rendering the church merely an incidental backdrop. The reality routes that connection directly through a network of other people and physical elements. The historical Reformation view pushes back against the modern myth. The Augsburg Confession insists that faith is obtained precisely through external means, like the ministry of teaching the gospel and administering the sacraments. The theological rule is clear. The Holy Spirit operates through the external word and the physical sacraments. He does not bypass them. Even in the most spectacular, pyrotechnic call narrative in the New Testament, God refused to skip these communal means of grace. People often say they are waiting for their own sudden Damascus Road experience. But you do not need to wait for a private, dramatic lightning bolt to find God. He meets you exactly where he met Paul, mediated through the waters of baptism and the voices of his people. This leaves us with a corrected, lasting image of the great apostle. He is not an isolated hero riding off on horseback. He is a broken man whose first act as a Christian was to be led, blind, into the arms of the church.